There's very few things in life that stick with me since honestly being a child. And, the things that do stick with me, there's three in particular that I still to this day believe changed the trajectory of my life, just changed my perspective on everything in a good way, even though some of the things that happened weren't necessarily good things. And so I wanted to share with you guys three life altering events that took place in my life that made me a better person, that helped me become successful, and that shaped me into the person that I am today. I am currently in a little hidey hole in Fremont right now. I love filming over here because it's right next to the river and just super peaceful. I don't know if you can hear the water lapping beneath me, but it's pretty peaceful, and so that's why I chose to film here. So now to get started with the video, the first life altering event that happened in my life that changed me for the better was graduating college. And I put this one as number one because I think that going to college gets a really bad rap. If you look online, a lot of people talk about how college is a scam and how, the money that you put towards college isn't worth it. And that could be somewhat true. That could be somewhat true. I do believe that the amount that it costs to go to college is incredibly crazy. I'm sorry, look at this, you guys. This is what I mean. It could be true that, the amount of money put into college is not ideal. It's not accessible in America, to be honest, for a lot of people. I know in other countries, education is universal and it's free, and that is such a privilege, which is unfortunate because in America, being educated beyond high school it's becoming a privilege and not a right, and that's just so unfortunate. And the reason why I say that being able to go to college or graduate in college is what changed my life is because I couldn't afford it myself. I had to get student loans in order to do it, and I almost had to drop out a few times. And so, if anybody understands how much of a privilege it is to be able to even go to college, it's me because I almost didn't make it. And so, how did it change my life? First and foremost, it helped me network. I was given opportunities that I don't think I would have been able to even fathom had I not gone to college. The people that I was around on a daily basis definitely helped me to get certain opportunities when it comes to internships and just getting, clinical hours when I was an EMT, and also even my first living situation right out of college. It was a transition period for me, and one of the connects that I made through working at the Field Museum actually knew someone who had openings at an international house, boarding house, where I stayed for 3 weeks until I was able to get my own place. So without that, I don't know where I would be right now. I don't know what I would be doing. Some other ways that college changed my life: it helped me get a job in the biological field, and that is eventually where I met my now husband, who grew up in a different tax bracket. And once I married him, I did level up a little bit because of the opportunities that he was given growing up. And so, if I hadn't been able to get that tech job with my degree, I wouldn't have met him, and who knows again what I would be doing, where I would be right now, had I not met the people that I met in college. Some other things that college just helped me with, some other life skills that college did give me, because despite what people may say, college does teach you life skills. And some of the life skills that I learned was autonomy, right? I learned how to do things myself. I learned how to figure things out. A lot of critical thinking as well, because you are given assignments where you're not giving much instruction. You're just told what the end goal is and to reach it. And so it really has it so that you have to, problem solve and just really expand your mind in order to get those answers that you need. I learned very quickly when I went to college that I can't just call my mom and have her fix my problems like she did when I was a child. And so that was one thing I think that college doesn't get a good enough rap for. You definitely have to grow up, even though a lot of people see college as easy mode. It also helps you with follow through, because if you don't follow through on things but you want things to be done, there's no other way to get things done. And that's for the majority of people that go to college, right? Of course, there are the outliers who have an easy experience no matter where they go. But for me, it wasn't that way. And so a lot of those skills were honed through college, through my relationships, through the relationships that I wanted, and then the goals that I wanted to achieve as well. The second event in my life that took place that changed my life for the better was experiencing homelessness. And I experienced it on all fronts. So the first time was with my family losing where they lived while I was going to college. It's such a weird juxtaposition when you go home for the holidays and there's nowhere to go, or the idea that you can't go home for the holidays because there's nowhere to go. And so living in that dorm really does become your safe haven. It becomes your escape, but also your lifeline. And so it makes it so that you really take your living situation seriously. It opened my eyes to a different way of living that I never would have even realized. There's things that people don't even think about when it comes to being homeless, like say if you have a headache, you can't just lay down in the dark. If you are on your menstrual cycle, where are you going to get those products? Where are you going to store those products? And so dealing with homelessness on that front really was an eye opener, and it also opened my eyes to things that homeless people need. If you're passing them by on the street, they don't always want food or money. Sometimes they need ibuprofen, or sometimes they need a tampon. You just never know. um, Another way that I experienced homelessness is directly when I was trying to figure things out between graduating college and my first job. I slept in a park, I slept in some grass, I did what I had to do. Like I said, I lived in transition housing. Um, I did what I had to do in order to just be able to go back to work the next day and be indoors. And it's really hard to be homeless and also be able to get things done that you need to get done throughout the day. And so just know that there are so many people out there whose stories you just don't know. And you never know what someone's going through when they are not in front of you. And so definitely that opened my eyes to that perspective as well. You never know what people are going through, you never know what they're dealing with. It made it so that I was able to be more savvy. It made it so that I was able to be more time efficient as well. It helped me to multitask. It helped me to time block, because you can only be in the library for so long until things start to get a little bit suspicious. And so you want to really take advantage of the time that you have Wi-Fi and a working computer. So things like that, it just really opened my eyes to when being homeless. So I've been living pretty well since then. Some of those practices I still use to this day: the time blocking, time management, just making sure that I take enough space to where I'm comfortable, but not too much to where if I need to leave at a moment's notice, then I can. It also keeps a fire under me, because it makes it so that you've hit rock bottom. And so you know what to do should you hit rock bottom again. You also know what to do in order to avoid that at all costs. But should life happen and that happen again, I feel like I have the steps that it would take in order to get out of that situation. And that gives you somewhat of a comfort, because you're in control of your destiny. You're able to control how to get out of certain situations, and it just gives you more of a confidence with yourself. It also helped with my saving habits, because one thing that really did keep me comforted and just happy when I was going through this time was just knowing that it was temporary. And if I just kept saving and kept at it, that I would be out of the situation soon enough. And so that is the second thing that happened in my life that honestly worked out for the better. And it kind of rolls into the third thing, which is investing in the stock market. And I know you guys, I know you're probably tired of hearing about money. This is a money channel. It always is going to go back to finances, and investing in the stock market changed my life exponentially, because the growth is exponential. I invested my first $50 into the stock market. My first stock ever was ADM, Archer Daniels Midland. It's a company that my dad used to work for, and I got my first dividend. I remember it was 43 cents. And that is when I learned the power of the dividend, the power of compound interest, and just the world of investing in general. I know for a fact that if I was not introduced to the stock market when I was in 2018, that I would be relying on a bank account still. I wouldn't be a quarter millionaire and I wouldn't be coast fire. I would still be really worried about the status of my job and just making sure that I save 80% of each paycheck. I would be worried about inflation and things like that. And really, with the stock market, I don't feel like I need to worry about those things anymore. And so that is why that is the third thing that really changed my life. Those are the three life events that changed my life for the better. I am more interested though in some things that happened with you guys. What are some things that you guys lived through that really shaped who you were as a person and really changed your outlook on life? Was it positive? Was it negative? That's what I want to know in the comments below. So please leave those down there and I will speak to you in the next video.